Welcome to your hometown pub. Open 7 days a week, the pub in LJ is your happy hour hangout. They offer a variety of dishes to satisfy every palate, and their friendly staff is here to ensure a wonderful time. Join them for daily happy hour specials Monday through Thursday. And don't forget, every Wednesday is Wing Wednesday with $1 wings all day long. Located at 941 Maddox Drive in East LJ. Open Sunday through Wednesday till midnight, Thursday through Saturday till 2 a.m. The pub in LJ, where every visit feels like home. You snoozed twice this morning, spilled your coffee once, and you've already blamed last night's referee for your morning mood.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
It's time to embrace the chaos and step into the madness.
Bro, you about to see a side of me you didn't even know existed.
Featuring guests who are over-caffeinated and less reasonable than the average person.
Man, I think it's just ridiculous.
Come on, man. Are you serious? Ugh.
Fans, where else would you rather be than right here, right now? Welcome to the show.
So buckle up. It's time for hot takes and hot mics. This is the Morning Rant, where the only thing more unpredictable is Dave before his third cup of coffee.
I just felt like running.
On WPGY, the Sports Pig.
What's up, North Georgia? Welcome in right here on a Monday morning quarterback edition of the program. Thanks for being with us. Again, we'll be with you till 11 o'clock this morning, and we appreciate you guys being on board. Hey, Dave Garner here alongside my man, Big John Davis, as we get set for another busy week of sports. Again, thanks for being with us right here on the program, and as always, and again, you know, a lot of things going on over the weekend, and we're going to kind of revisit some of the topics that we talked about a little bit last week right here on the program as well. But again, some big things happening over the weekend. One of those things, of course, we just talked about it last week, the passing of Ted Turner, and then right on the heels of that, of all things, we lose Bobby Cox as Atlanta Braves fans. So again, kind of a little bit different weekend there when we talk about, you know, losing loved ones, and then even a little bit closer to home, and I'll let you talk a little bit about this too, John. We lost a local coaching legend at the high school level as well.
Yeah, Rodney Walker. Unfortunately, I got text messages, I believe, Saturday morning, saying that he had passed away. And Coach Walker, I never played for him, but I was a manager for the football team. Yeah. And he was a bigger-than-life figure, and the guys that have been texting me, obviously he had a huge impact on their lives as well.
Yeah. And again, a lot of things to kind of reminisce about. And we'll kind of continue down that path here in this first segment as we continue on and take a look back at the weekend. Working through some audio stuff right now here on the board. I can kind of hear us a little bit, but there's some different levels here, so I'm working with. So I'm going to kind of keep playing with that. But, John, you were talking about Bobby Cox. You know, we mentioned Bobby Cox. You and I were talking about it a little bit, you know, off air, certainly. And a lot of memories, a lot of stories, of course, about Bobby coming out. It was another weekend where teams were honoring Bobby Cox, you know, throughout the weekend. The Dodgers showing a lot of class. Of course, Bobby spent some time in the Blue Jays organization. So Toronto, again, was one of those places that shared some love as well. And so, again, a guy very much thought of by his former players. A lot of Braves players coming out and saying he was kind of like a second dad, you know, to a lot of these guys.
You know, you hate to hear the tributes because you know somebody has passed away, but listening to Freeman and Chipper and Maddox and Smoltzy and those guys just talk about the stories that how he impacted their lives, how he made the game of baseball fun. Yeah. And you know, it just it puts a smile on your face because, you know, I feel the same way about Marv Levy. You know, we didn't always get along, but I always had a great admiration for him. And then obviously my love for Bill Curry. But you could tell those guys, it affected them very much. And, I hate it for them. And I used to see Bobby down at our wine shop right down the road. And, of course, being a player, I always called him Coach.
Right.
And he would always get a smile out of it. But always nice, always friendly, knew who I was. And it was just always great to get a chance to visit with him whenever I ran across the path of him.
Yeah, I think that, and by the way, I got the audio situated here, hopefully on the board. So everything sounded kind of normal now. I couldn't hear myself there for a minute. So again, sorry for my little discombobulation there. It's like, no, Dave has not hit the sauce here on a Monday, I promise, on this Monday morning quarterback edition
Friday.
of the show. Not till Friday, and we're going to talk more about Friday too, by the way. But now we'll lay off the sauce at least from 10 to 1, but we'll talk more about that coming up later in the program as well. We've got a busy 60 minutes, and now we're already, of course, a few minutes into that as well. Our Mafia Monday Weekend Rewind coming at you later in the show as we take a look back basically at a lot of things that have happened over the course of the weekend. NBA playoffs, NHL playoffs, you name it. A lot of things going on over the weekend, but plenty of things going on this week. PGA Championship as we kind of set the stage for the remainder of the show. Of course, NASCAR this past weekend and coming up on another big weekend as well. And, of course, horse racing, we spent a lot of time talking about the Derby. The Preakness is this weekend. The field's going to look a little different since, especially with Golden Tempo and some other horses opting out, which to me, and I don't understand it necessarily as much. I don't claim to, but it just doesn't make sense to me that why you wouldn't run, like if you didn't have any inkling of trying to be a Triple Crown winner, then why would you even do that? But I know there's probably a lot of stuff in the equine world that just doesn't make sense. So,
well, I watched an interview with, I think her name was Sherry, if I'm not mistaken, and she explained it because Hester was wondering the same thing, that they put so much into the Kentucky Derby, and I'm not a horse guy, and I'm not going to sit here. I'm just talking, from what I hear.
Right, yeah.
But the way she was explaining it was that they put so much into the Kentucky Derby that it actually just wears the horse out.
Right.
That is the final stage of the race, and
sure.
She said that he's just not ready.
Yeah,
and not that he's not healthy, but just not ready to run, and she's not going to take a chance because this is a moneymaker for Golden Tempo. I mean, and she sees the future, and that's how she was explaining it Sunday on the interview that I saw. So, yeah, you're right. You got a chance to win the Triple Crown, but once you understand the reasoning, it helps you out a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's just part of it, is just having the knowledge of knowing, hey, what's going on with that right there. It's because you're dealing with animals. You're not dealing with people. So it is a little bit different dynamic than somebody saying, hey, yeah, I got a little tightness in the old hamstring there. So
yeah, exactly.
It totally makes sense. So again, horse racing.
I wouldn't know
up.
that because offensive linemen don't have hamstrings.
Yeah.
So.
Or necks either, for that matter. They don't have necks or hamstrings. There's certain body parts they lack. No, Braves, talking about obviously Bobby Cox, Ted Turner. We're going to dive more into that certainly over this next hour. But what can't be overlooked is the weekend the Braves had. In fact, the road trip overall, a 6-3 road trip. Man, you'll take that every time. Taking 2 out of 3 from the Dodgers. I watched most of the game yesterday. It was on TV locally, finally, and so we were able to watch a little bit of Braves this weekend. But, anytime you can go out to L.A. and take a couple of games from those guys, man, you feel pretty good about yourself.
I think it's a big confidence booster. They're 15 games above 500. I think they're 9 games, if I'm looking correctly, 9 games above the next place. And it's like I said, you go on the road against those teams and you come out, 2 out of 3 overall. Yeah. That's pretty good. And we know how good the Dodgers are. Colorado's the hitter's park.
Right.
Seattle's, playing well. But the Braves, they hung in there. And, they had a little hiccup in Seattle, but, they bounced back and could have been emotional because of Bobby's passing. But, we'll take it, whenever we can.
Yeah, it's great to see. We saw some great pitching performances over the weekend. Bryce Elder, of course, tossing a gem yesterday until it got into that the sixth inning there, and 2 out, nobody on, and then all of a sudden he kind of just fell apart. He walked the bases loaded, and then it took just an unbelievable grab by Eli White, getting the start out in right field, goes up and crashes into the wall, hangs onto the ball with 2 out as Muncy nearly put one off the wall there and flirted with the grand slam, which would have tied the game at the time, but the Braves would add a little insurance and go on to win 7-2 on Saturday and Sunday, 7-2 both nights. They lost the opener on Friday night, and you think, well, here we go. Maybe we can salvage at least a game, but the Braves come back to win both games on Saturday and Sunday as they win the series. They're off today, and they come back home against the Cubs, who are also playing phenomenal. In fact, Chicago right now nipping on the Braves' heels for the best record in baseball, so it gets no easier. But a great, like you said, I think it's a great confidence builder for this Atlanta Braves team going out west. For 9 games, they come back 6-3, having won series, as you mentioned, sweeping the Rockies, and of course taking the series against the Dodgers. So again, we'll see what happens when the Braves come back home this week. We're gonna have bold takes throughout the show. We're gonna talk NBA, NHL playoffs as we talked about. We're gonna revisit some of the NCAA stuff as far as the field of 64, advancing, and some other news there, and also some NFL news as well as far as the officials. We're talking about referees and, going on strike and this, that, and the other. So a lot of different things to get to over the course of this show here. But I do want to remind folks kind of the week ahead. We've got a busy week, not only for the station, but right here on the program. But it gets no busier than Friday. We've got a great event that we've been talking up, and we hope that, we'll see you there. But if not, B, we hope that you'll at least be tuning in. But it's our Bradley's Brunch and Lunch event taking place on Friday from 10 a.m. until 1 p.m. We'll be at Bradley's Bar and Grill down in East Cobb off of Lower Roswell Road. And, John, I tell you, it's an event we've been looking forward to for a long time now.
Yeah, I just got in touch. John got back into town. He took his family on a cruise and a little Disney vacation, and he's looking forward to it. 50-cent wings, one of the best lunch menus in East Cobb, and we're looking forward to it. We've spread the word around. My son's going to be there, and so we're looking forward to that. And some friends and other families going to be there. So we just encourage y'all to come out. It is a classic dive bar, and there is smoking in there, but they have great outdoor seating. But the food, if that's one thing that John has done, is he's really concentrated on the food aspect of it, and it's not just bar food. He's got great menus that he comes out every day with, and so we hope to see a lot of people out there. I think we're going to set up outside and enjoy the weather, and it's supposed to be nice, and it'd be a great day.
Yeah, a great day and a great preview for the weekend ahead. We'll be joined by several special guests on that day on Friday, so that we hope that you'll be tuning in. Last week was a fun week. For those of you that maybe were out of town last week, or you didn't log in and listen, we had a couple of live appearances. We were at the pub in LJ last Wednesday for Winging It Wednesday, and then we were at Ronnie Thompson Ford on Friday broadcasting 2-hour shows both days, so we were on location twice last week. Of course, we got the big Bradley's event going on Friday. We'll be on the air for 3 hours that day, but I tell you, man, when you and I get together, man, time flies by. You don't even notice it.
Yeah, the 2 hours. And you know what about that show Friday? It was so great seeing Vicky Thompson, Ronnie's wife. I haven't seen her in years, and of course we used to host different types of parties at our house for Gilmer Arts and Heritage and chamber events and stuff like that. And she's always been a hoot, and she's just it was so good to see her. It sadly, with Ronnie passing and stuff, I know she went through a rough time, but she's doing great, and she's just as funny as ever. But Heath and Jesse are, working the car dealership. And she told me, she says, he pays me not to come up there. And I was like, well, you're getting a paycheck.
Yeah, that's all that matters. You've
earned it.
Exactly. Yeah. Friday was Jesse's birthday, by the way. So, again, we wished her a happy birthday. And, yeah, Vicky is as spunky as ever. I mean, so, again, that was a lot of fun on Friday. Hey, by the way, our Jasper Coca-Cola text line is open. Give us a shout, 866-888-0744. We did hear from one of your big buddies there again, Jim from Buffalo. He texted us after the show on Friday, so we didn't get time to talk about this during the 2-hour time slot there, but he said, hey, great show, fellas. Go Sabres. And that was from Jim from Buffalo. So, again, a big shout out there for texting in.
A little premature. I just texted both of them a few minutes ago when I told Mark Butler went to the second game when the Sabres lost, and we're like, please don't go to another game. Yeah. And I said, you jinxed them. We're now down 1-2. Man. Don't even turn the TV on if you don't have to. So,
I watched that game yesterday, and I thought about you the whole time, man. I watched that thing almost basically start to finish.
Goal.
Yeah.
The first goal in 53 seconds.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to get too excited, but I'm going to get excited. And then before you know it, we started Netflixing and Prime Videoing and stuff, and I looked and it's 4-2, and I'm like, damn.
It was a good omen until it wasn't. Yeah, I came right out of the Braves game, right into the Sabres Canadians matchup there. So, yeah, big day, big Mother's Day yesterday. We just kind of wanted to chill and hang out, and that's exactly what we did. Hey, by the way, we hope everyone had a great Mother's Day, especially all of our moms out there. So, again, Mother's Day weekend now in the books as we continue to flash forward. We're going to take a quick time out. When we come back, we'll talk more about Braves and a lot of other stuff going on in the world of local sports here on this Monday morning quarterback edition, brought to you by your friends at Foundation Wealth in Dalton. It's a Mafia Monday weekend rewind coming up. All that more straight ahead right here on the home of ESPN Radio in North Georgia on the Sports Pig app and online at sportspigradio.com.
You entrusted your loved one's care to a nursing home, expecting compassion and quality treatment. Instead, they suffered from neglect, abuse, bed sores, falls, or medication errors that could have been prevented. I'm Chris Brown from Geiger Legal Group. Our elderly deserve dignity and proper care, not negligence that causes pain and suffering. When nursing homes fail in their duty of care, we fight to hold them accountable. Your loved one's suffering matters. We'll stand up for those who can't stand up for themselves.
Call Geiger Legal Group at 833-HELP-GLG and let us tell your story today.
Grand Slam! 98.1 and 93.7 The Sports Pig, the official home for the Atlanta Braves baseball. Morning grind with pork rinds.
Welcome to the show.
It's the Morning Rant, weekday mornings from 10 to 11 on 98.1, 93.7, and 101.1 on the H2 dial. WPGY, the Sports Pig.
It's a Monday morning quarterback edition of the Morning Rant. Dave Garner alongside Big John Davis here on a Monday, chopping it up there. I'll get it right in a second. We appreciate you guys being with us. Definitely a Monday morning. But we're working through it right here, man, and we appreciate you guys being with us as always. Again, visit us on our social media. The Sports Pig, as always, lives on Facebook. The Morning Rant, our show, lives on Instagram. You can also watch full video episodes of the show daily on YouTube, the podcast version of the program on our website, sportspigradio.com, and wherever you listen to your favorite daily podcast on both Apple and Android platforms. You can also catch us on Twitter. I'm at DaveGarner777. He's at JohnDavis_65, and this is the Morning Rant on the home of ESPN Radio in North Georgia. Our Jasper Coca-Cola text line's open for business, 866-888-0744. Let us know what you want to talk about or chime in about any of the things that we're talking about. This morning, we encourage you to share your favorite Bobby Cox moment or any of your favorite moments from some of those folks that we've lost in the past week, including Ted Turner. And a little bit closer to home for folks, especially in Gilmer County, LJ, you might remember, of course, Coach Rodney Walker, who spent some time in Gilmer. I know, John, of course, you remember him as well, a legendary coach in the high school ranks of the state of Georgia. We're going to talk about some high school baseball baseball in a second because we've got several teams that are in the Final Four this week, so we're going to talk about that. But I did want to kind of revisit what we touched on there in the first segment with some of the folks that we've lost over this past week, man.
Yeah, it's been a tough week, especially, again, reiterating the stories of Bobby Cox are unbelievable, and then also Ted Turner, what a character he was.
Yes.
and Coach Walker, like I said, I've been getting texts from former players who, he made a huge impact, and I have those I have those coaches as well from high school. Obviously one of the big guys, Lex Rainey, big mentor and just a fabulous guy in my life. But Tim Marchman, Ken Buffington, you could go down and name a lot of them. But, I hate it for those guys that they're going through this. But, I don't mean to sound cold, but it's life. And things happen, and that's why I cherish every moment I get with Bill Curry, Coach Curry, because I love the man. Everybody does. And so we try to spend as much time with him as we possibly can and just enjoy it while we can.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Well said right there, partner. Again, Rodney Walker, a little bit closer to home, certainly a legendary coach in the state of Georgia, high school football coach for many years. Again, passing away alongside with folks like Bobby Cox, who we talked about. We were just talking about Ted Turner last week, and now here comes Bobby Cox. So, again, a lot of memories. You see a lot of pictures of those two together, and a lot of players coming out, of course, telling a lot of different stories. To brighten the mood a little bit.
The thing that I love about Bobby, as being a player's coach, obviously, but his ejections were legendary.
161. He leads all time.
That's a season.
That's a whole season. Yeah.
And to see the umpires come out, and they're just like, as I've said before, Bobby was a formidable opponent. You know.
Oh, yeah.
Whether it was staged, some of those at times are staged. I had found out from a good friend of mine, Roy Hartsfield, who lived in LJ and played for Toronto.
The Yankees,
sadly passed away a few years ago. That he would say sometimes some of those are staged either to pump up the team or just sometimes they're tired.
Right.
And just, they just got to get it out. And but to see Bobby go against those guys and see the spit flying and the hat, bumping the nose and stuff like that were just legendary. That's one record that'll never be broken.
Yeah, I don't think so either, unless somebody's just trying to get thrown out. I think it's a situation. That's where the whole father figure discussion comes into it, because a lot of the Braves players have said over the last day or so that he was like another dad, to me.
Yeah.
And I think it was a situation where anytime any of his players showed any kind of major frustration, whether it be Chipper, whether it be Maddox, whether it be anybody, Bobby would kind of step in, right? I mean, he would step into that situation. He always had his players' backs. And I think that at the end of the day, I think to your point, whether it was staged or not, I think it was a way for Bobby to show that, hey, I got your back. I'm going to take this for you, and that way you can stay in the game, and I'm going to bring the frustration. But yeah, I think 161 ejections, I believe, is the number that I saw, which of course by far leads all of history of Major League Baseball. But
one of the best stories I heard this week was when the pitchers were all together, Smoltz, Glavine, and Mad Dog Maddox, and Bobby sent Mazzone out
Leo
to talk to Maddox and said, look, just go ahead and walk this guy. We'll get the next one out. And Maddox was like, no, I'm not going to do it. He says, give me 2 pitches. And he says, I think I can get him to pop out at third base.
Right. There you go.
You might have seen the interview, and sure enough, he goes in there, throws the first one's a ball, the second one pops up to third base, and you can see Bobby and Mazzoni in the dugout just laughing their asses off because they're like, you know what, son of a bitch did it.
Yeah.
And he got him out. And so, but that was Bobby. And another story, Smoltz had a chance to play at Augusta with Tiger Woods, and he's like, Coach, I hate to ask you, but I feel like I should, but I've got all my work in. I'm not pitching for a couple of days. I said, I've been invited to go play Augusta with Tiger Woods. He says, what are your thoughts? And he's like, I'll see you Monday. Yeah, and so that's what he was, and so those guys took their golf clubs on the road with them, and when you have the trust. And trust me, I understand that from where I came from. When you have the trust of your manager or your coach like that, you'll go to bat for anything. Oh, yeah. And you'll do anything. Now, again, Marv and I didn't always see eye to eye because I've got a short career as a player. Head coaches have a long career. Right. And that's basically what I told them. I said, Coach, you're going to be coaching for a long time. I said, I've got to play. I can play football. If I'm not going to play here, just let me go. And this is a story for another time. But he's like, no, you're going to play for the Buffalo Bills. And, sure enough, it worked out in the 93 season and when I came back from my major injury. And but when you have the trust of your coaches like that, you'll do just about anything for them. Right. And and that's all you hear with the tributes to Bobby is the trust. It's the knowing, like you just said, he's got our backs. Right. And that goes a long way.
And I was going to ask you about the dynamic, kind of a similar dynamic between you and Marv Levy, of course, and and kind of because you can relate to that as a professional athlete and kind of the relationship that you had with him. Seems like it was very similar to what the players had, of course, with Bobby Cox. There was another story I heard this morning, which is kind of funny. Jeff Rancourt was talking about a similar situation because, believe it or not, apparently Bobby liked the guys going and playing golf. He felt like it helped them, from a middle. A lot of coaches, they kind of frown on, anything outside the clubhouse. They want it all to be about whatever it is at that moment. But apparently Bobby very much embraced the fact that those guys would bring their golf clubs and said, hey, absolutely, get out of here. And so there was a similar situation. I heard a story this morning from Jeff Rancourt that I thought was kind of funny. He was saying that they were in a spring training game, and apparently he had the chance to play with Tiger Woods down at a course down there. And he's like, well, we got a game at 1 o'clock. There's no way it's going to work. And so Bobby had gotten wind of that conversation, and he approached Frenchie, and he said, hey, I heard you had a chance to play, with Tiger Woods, and he said, yeah, but, it was going to be too tight with the game at 105. And Bobby made a deal with him and said, hey, I tell you what, the first inning, I want you to run down the first base. And as you're trying to leg out, a ground ball or whatever, I want you to kind of start hobbling a little bit and act like maybe you might have pulled something. And then I'll let you go, and then you can make your 150 tee time because it was going to be a 150 tee time with a 105 baseball start. Right. So apparently, first inning, sure enough, he gets up there to bat. He grounds a ball to short or wherever, runs through the bag at first base, and he starts kind of pulling up a little bit. And so, they checked him out and everything. And he said he went right in. He didn't even shower. He left the game, changed right into his golf clothes, went right to the course and got to play. And the next day, popped up on the injury report as a high ankle sprain day to day. And he said, it was able to come back immediately, So there were a lot of great stories like that, when you talk about Bobby Cox.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you the story on Friday. But, Marv and I had a unique relationship, and I think one of the reasons why we did is that he knew that I was good friends with Ralph Wilson, the owner. Yeah, and so the head coaches know a lot. They don't say a whole lot, but they know what's going on. Yeah. And of course, Mr. Wilson and I had a great relationship, and that's also another story I'll talk about. But he knew that we had a great relationship. He knew the passion in me wanting to play, but he just was like, John, you're not ready. Yeah. And I'm not going to put you out there until you are ready. And I was like, bullshit, that's not right. I'm ready. And come to find out, I wasn't ready. He knew everything. And so it was the right decision, but I didn't like it at the time. Again, it goes back to, I've got a short career. The NFL averages 3 years, 3 games, and I'm going into my, I think, 6th year at the time. And I'm like, Coach, you're going to be here forever. I said, I'm not.
Yeah.
And he says, no, you're going to be here. Just, hang tight.
Yeah.
But there's a lot more to the story.
It sounds like it. We're going to get to it a little bit more after the break, man. We're already halfway home here on this Monday morning quarterback edition of the Morning Rant. Thanks for joining us right here on the home of ESPN Radio in North Georgia. Plenty more still ahead right here on the Sports Pig app and online at sportspigradio.com.
Financial scams are on the rise, and with AI, they're getting more and more sophisticated every day. If someone pressures you to act quickly, ask for secrecy, or request payment through gift cards, wire transfers, or cryptocurrency, stop. Legitimate financial professionals don't rush you or demand unusual payment methods. Before you send money or share personal information, slow down and verify. Protect your future. When in doubt, ask questions.
If you're suspicious of a scam, call the team at Foundation Wealth today at 706-278-0214.
98.1 and 93.7 The Sports Pig, your official home for flag-to-flag coverage of NASCAR. Time to hang it in the Louvre.
Oh, this looks nice.
Our favorite moments from the week in sports here on the Morning Rant.
Back here on the Morning Rant, a Monday morning quarterback edition of the program. Dave Garner alongside Big John Davis with you till 11 o'clock. Chuck Oliver, the king of college football with Southern Sports Today right at 11 here on sportspigradio.com and on the app. And again, this past weekend, John, high school baseball playoffs. Again, Final Fours decided, and I am pleased to announce that we've got several area high schools that will be in Final Four action this week, including the Pickens Dragons and the Calhoun Yellow Jackets, who will be playing each other over at Calhoun later in the week. Again, that series starts on Thursday. Also, our friends in Cartersville taking on Kell in the Final Four as well. So the Purple Hurricanes are Final Four bound. And our North Cobb Christian Eagles. Congratulations again, Region Coach of the Year, Jimmy Keene, leading the Eagles back to the Final Four. So again, a lot of teams in our coverage area making it to the Final Four. Etowah High School as well. Almost forgot. Cherokee fell just short to Parkview in the big bracket there, but Etowah also moving on into the Final Four as well, and as expected. So again, keep it right here as we continue to talk about high school sports throughout our area, and we will chop up the Final Four, kind of let you know how everybody's doing, and we may even have, and I got to confirm this, but we may even have some live coverage for you later in the week from one of the series. We're still trying to work that out here on a Monday morning, but hopefully we'll know a little bit more tomorrow. But either way, man, it's great to see so much area representation at that level.
Yeah, don't tell anybody, but I'm going to have to pull for Pickens. Like I said, I hope nobody hears that.
Wow, I was going to say, mute your speakers, man. Wow.
But no, it is great. It's great to see the area schools doing great. And, you do such a great job of trying to highlight all the area high schools and stuff. And we encourage them to get in touch with us to let us know what's going on, whether it's a recruiting player or a coaching milestone or a team milestone. Let us know so we can celebrate with you.
Absolutely. Texas, 866-888-0744. Again, if you're a coach, if you're a parent, a student athlete, and you want to brag on your team a little bit, where you guys are going, help us to fill in the missing links by texting us at our Jasper Coca-Cola text line at 866-888-0744. Time now for our weekend rewind right here on the Morning Rant.
It's time to roll back the clock and relive the biggest moments from the weekend. This is your Mafia Monday Weekend Rewind with a man who knows what it means to battle in the trenches. It's table-crushing time on the Morning Rant.
All right, so again, chopping it up here with Big John Davis on a Monday as we revisit the weekend here. Let's start with the NHL. I know, John, you weren't happy about the Sabres yesterday, but hey, still plenty of hockey left out there.
Yeah, there is. And, they just, I just watching them, they just don't seem like they're in sync. I think they're as good or better than Montreal. But they just and the goalie Lyons has actually played really well. He's just had a couple of unfortunate, shots get by him and out of position. So, it's a long season, and we'll see if they can split in Montreal, then I'll feel much better coming home 2-2 than 1-3.
Absolutely. Again, the Avalanche falling to the Minnesota Wild. They're still up 2-1 in that series, but the Wild taking Game 3. They were down 2-0. Meanwhile, Vegas and Anaheim tied at 2 apiece. Carolina's already won theirs, so again, they're already in the semifinals there of the Eastern Conference playoffs. And NBA, again, the Knicks with a 4-0 sweep over the Sixers. Maybe for Hawks fans, you take a little solace in knowing that this Knicks team is obviously peaking at the right time there. Detroit leading the Cavs right now 2-1, and then over on the western side, you got the Spurs and the T-Wolves tied at 2 apiece, and OKC leading the Lakers right now at 3-0.
Yeah, anytime the Lakers can lose 0-4, then
it's
I'm
always
happy.
A good thing.
To me it is.
I get you.
But I'm going to be honest. I don't watch the NBA.
Yeah,
so
a lot of people don't.
I'm taking your word for it.
Hey, so what you're telling me is you also didn't watch the Atlanta Dream win their opener as well over the weekend.
I did not.
Angel Reese, man, come on now, it's the debut here. Again, the Atlanta Dream did get the win there. Meanwhile, the Atlanta United fell to the LA Galaxy 2-1 in full-time play there. So again, unable to keep that win streak going there on Saturday down at the Benz. NASCAR, it was the hired gun Shane Van Gisbergen with the road course win at the Glen, followed by Michael McDowell, again Gibbs, Briscoe, and Tyler Reddick, the points leader, rounding out the top 5 there. Closer to home, it was Chandler Smith finishing 5th in the Truck Series race at the Glen. Honeycutt, the current points leader right now, takes the dub as the winner of the race at the Glen over the weekend as well. And that's a look at some of the local things happening over the weekend. John, you and I were talking about PGA coming up this weekend, the championship up there in Pennsylvania. Should be a good one as folks continue to talk golf.
Yeah, no, I'm looking at the Vegas odds right now, and I'll be honest with you, I'm not a fan of Rory McIlroy's, but he and Scotty Scheffler are sitting up at top with the odds. They even got Bryson DeChambeau and John Rahm up there, Xander Schauffele, Justin Thomas, Colin Morikawa, some of the same names that we see at the Masters and stuff. But
right.
I always like the PGA Championship and the different locations. Obviously with the Masters, you're always in Augusta, but with these other 3 majors, it's always fun to see these different venues that they play at and to see how they do. So Live Golf apparently is going through some hardships right now, and so we'll see what happens with that, but it's a great field. I'm looking forward to it's one of the weekends that for so long I was doing volleyball, and I missed the U.S. Open, I missed the PGA Championship, I missed all the great golf tournaments. Yeah. And but I'll be sitting in my chair, soaking it in.
I was laughing because there's some memes out there that talk about the live golfers, eventually having to come back to the PGA Tour, and the PGA players kind of welcoming the live golfers back. And it was the whole scene from Happy Gilmore where he's having to apologize to Chubbs. He's like, I'm dumb, you're smart, you're handsome, I'm not, and it's like that whole scene from that movie and everything. It's like, the live golfers to the PGA guys, trying to get welcome back into the fold.
Well, and I'll go back and do some research for the next show, but, Jack Nicklaus, I believe it was Jack and Arnie that started the PGA Tour. I forget the name of the tour back, in the 50s, 60s, 40s, and all through there, that I think sometime in the 60s or 70s they started the PGA Tour, I believe. Right. I could be wrong. I'll do some research on it. And they caught a lot of flack doing that.
Oh yeah,
because they went against the norm.
Right.
But I mean, come on, it's Jack Nicklaus and Arnold Palmer.
Yeah.
So
of course.
And I listen. I was a big fan of live golf. I like the format. I like it's like going with your best 4 buddies. And you're going out there drinking beer, you got music playing, and you're you're having a ball. I never could understand. And see, Rory, put it, I think he got put in a position to where he was pretty much told, you're going to be the spokesperson for the PGA Tour, and you're going to be the bulldog to go after Liv.
Right.
And when he started getting backlash from it, you saw him calm down a little bit.
Yeah.
And so I don't see anything wrong with competition. They made it worldwide. They took golf to places that they've never been, and I just never quite. And they say, they doing the business with the Saudis and stuff like that. Well, hell, Dave, everybody does business.
I was going to say,
Saudis.
yeah, you just don't know it. You don't realize it. Yeah.
Yeah. So I never really understood it, but they're going to have to. Obviously, they're going to have to pay a hefty fine. Brooks Koepka came back, and he had to pay a hefty fine to come back, which I think is wrong. I don't think I think they just need to come back and either earn their card or, well, in Brooks' case and DeChambeau, they've won the majors, so they automatically get an exemption.
They get the right.
But some of those other guys, put them in a position to where they got to come back and maybe play in the Korn Ferry Tour, and then earn their way back to the PGA. They're good enough to be able to do that. So I can understand why there is some penalty that needs to be given. But I think Brooks had to pay like $25 million just to get back on the PGA Tour.
Yeah.
And that's stupid because the PGA is just as bad as the NCAA because they got billions of dollars. And that's why Phil Mickelson has held out, because he actually was the first one that called them out.
Right.
And said, screw this. I mean, y'all are using every time a commercial comes on, you're using my picture, and I'm not getting a dime for it.
Yeah.
And trust me, it doesn't matter if you've got $250 million or if you got $1 million. You still you deserve some money.
Still
for that,
earning it. Yeah, you still earn it.
Of course, you and I talked about my name, image, and likeness, not getting paid for it. So I can understand that. And Phil's he's towing the line, know, and I agree with him. I'm a big fan of his. Yeah,
there's 11 live golfers playing in the PGA Championship this week. Of course, DeChambeau, Rahm, Cam Smith, Dustin Johnson, again, and then, Martin Kamer, Terrell Hatton, Joaquin Neiman, and then there are a few others in there as well. But now Phil Mickelson has withdrawn. He was originally listed, but he's withdrawn already. So again, he's kind of been laying out a little bit there. But so again, it is one of those tournaments, kind of like the Masters. The Masters, I love it because it's open to anybody. It's kind of its own thing, right? It's its own brand. They've got their own, everything there. So again, it's pretty open. But the PGA Championship also kind of letting up a little bit. They're allowing some of those guys to come over and play as well. So again, that taking place this weekend. The Preakness, as we mentioned earlier, the second leg of the Triple Crown, but there won't be a Triple Crown winner this year because Golden Tempo is withdrawing from that one, just not ready, as we talked about in the first segment of the show today. So again, unfortunately, it won't be a Triple Crown year, but I think that takes a little bit of the excitement out of it. But
yeah, it does. But I was going to tell you, I'm looking at the odds and stuff right now. We're going to change the betting scene up a little bit this weekend. My buddy Damien, my old teammate at Georgia Tech, he does the it's called the Exacta, and he picks 4 horses. And he actually won like a little over $300. He picked Golden Tempo. You don't have to pick them to win. You just have to pick the top 4 horses.
Wow.
And and I don't know how this betting goes, but I thought we'll change it up a little bit and do the bet. But the big one here that I'm looking at right now is Taj Mahal at 20-1.
Okay.
But he's 3 for 3 at Laurel Park, so that's interesting.
That is, So there you go. That may be
crude
one.
velocity at 4-1. So it seems to be a pretty good field. So again, it's Saturday, be tuned in and just enjoy
it, man. Enjoy it. It's that time of year, man. It's a fun time of year. The weather warming up, man. It's almost pool season. Hey, man, you got to love it right here as we get on the other side of that pollen and hopefully all these allergies right here.
Hopefully.
Oh, man, we're up against our final break of the show. When we come back, we'll dive into some NFL news, also some college sports as well. Stay with us right here on this Monday morning quarterback edition of the Morning Rant right here on the home of ESPN Radio in North Georgia on the Sports Pig app and online at sportspigradio.com.
Whatever cooling solution makes the most sense, Green Heating and Cooling is ready to help. Whether you need a quick fix or an entirely new cooling system, Green will do whatever it takes for your family's comfort. With Green, you get more than just a technician. You get someone who's committed to meeting your needs and achieving a high level of training and skills. Someone backed by outstanding products from one of the industry's most trusted names, Bryant. Nobody understands the ins and outs of home comfort like Green. So whatever your situation or budget, Green Heating and Cooling has a solution for you. Bryant, whatever it takes.
Grand Slam! 98.1 and 93.7 The Sports Pig, the official home for the Atlanta Braves baseball.
911, what's your emergency?
Bold takes from the big man himself. It's Big John's Bold Take of the Week, only on the Morning Rant.
Hot takes and hot mics right here on the Morning Rant. It's a Monday morning quarterback edition of the program. Thanks for being with us right here. Again, we're here till 11 o'clock this morning when Chuck Oliver takes over. Dave Garner alongside Big John Davis. And speaking of bold takes right here, again, one of the things we've talked about a lot on the program, John, over the last couple of weeks has been sports betting, gambling, particularly at the collegiate level, which kind of ties in to our discussion today about the expanded field for March Madness and all the different changes going on right now with college athletics.
Hey, we're going to be talking about it every week. It's just
a common theme, right?
Yeah, it's unfortunate. Adding making it go up to 24 teams in NCAA football wise, you're watering it down. I think you're doing the playoffs a injustice or whatever, because number 24 is not going to beat number 1. Right. 23. So again, where does it end? You and I have talked about the basketball side. Why not have just let all the Division I teams get into the NCAA tournament? And Jim Boeheim wanted to do it. Yeah. The gambling, it just offers more chances to gamble. And I think I brought up a couple of weeks ago, the 11 of the top 12 scandals were basketball related, in the NCAA. And so I just think it just opens up a whole can of worms. I think it waters everything down, all in the name of money, and that goes back to what you and I've talked about from the first show that we did. The NCAA is about as corrupt as you can be. And I think it's all about money. And I just think it's like you said, no coach is going to lose their job because, hey, I might be in 72.
Right.
Yeah. But I'm in the tournament.
I'm in the tournament.
I just think in football, I think it's even that worse because you've got the bowl games that are being affected. And it's like I said the other day, we were talking about, it used to be a special thing to go to a bowl game. Yeah. Now, players, I mean, be honest, half the players don't want to go.
No, they opt out. They don't play.
They want to go home. And especially the younger ones. Right. And the older ones don't want to play because they've got aspirations for the NFL. So it just, I've gotten to the point, I'm an idiot because I keep watching. I'm sure.
We all do. I mean, that's the thing. Yeah, we all keep watching.
The Nielsen ratings.
Yeah,
and it's just like, but. I'm a glutton for punishment, even though it's, bad football. I still watch it because it's, that's just who it's who I am.
Oh, exactly. We're going to watch, and that's the biggest thing right here. What do you think? Jasper Coca-Cola text line, 866-888-0744. It's all your fault, people. You guys keep watching out there, and you're feeding the monster. One viewer at a time. No, we're all guilty of that, and I think the biggest thing that I don't like about the expanded field to me is it really does diminish the regular season more so than anything, because now you can lose 2-3 games and have a shot, and then it's going to get to the point where you're going to have 4 lost teams in there that are going to say, well, we deserve to be in there, because at 9-4 our conference is still stronger from top to bottom than blah blah blah, quality losses, this, that, and the other.
Yeah, no, you're right. And it goes back to the ESPN SEC whole thing. And, they're going to put as many SEC teams in the top 25 as they can.
Yeah.
Like I said, when they lose, they're going to drop maybe 1-2 points. If they win, they're going to jump 7 or 8 points.
Right, yeah, spots,
whereas rightfully so, Georgia Tech loses, they drop 9 or 10 points because they lose to a terrible Pittsburgh team and as well as an NC State team. But getting back to what you were just saying about the especially at the end of the season, especially for basketball, it gets down to, it's like you said, are coaches coaching or are they managing?
Right.
Are they managing for a position or are they so now they're doing an injustice to the players, instead of going out there and saying, look, we got to win, we got to put ourselves into position, instead of saying, okay, well, we need to be healthy. We might be the number 76 team, but we got to be healthy going into the tournament because you never know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And,
that's true.
so I just think it's bad all around.
I do too, man.
And it hurts the NIT. The NIT was the premier. We've said it before. The NIT was the premier tournament back in the 40s, 50s, and 60s. And I just think it's gotten to the point now to where they're just really screwing them over, and it's just it's just unfortunate.
Yeah, the biggest school in the NIT is going to be, it's going to be Appalachian State or someone like that. It'll be like the number
Iona.
1 seed,
exactly.
Siena or one of those, SUNY schools up there.
Yeah.
But to your point, so it is going to kind of continue to even further water down that field, if you will, a little bit as well. Hey, let's talk some NFL for just a second. Again, one of the big stories, obviously, the NFL Referee Association, threatening, strikes, this, that, and the other. NFL saying, we're not going to worry about hiring replacements. And so, an interesting story in the league as we kind of climb. Plenty of time, obviously, to work through things before football season, but it'll be here before you know it.
And I'll say it again, until they become full-time employees, I don't care. There's too much money on. It's always amazing that you and I always come back to, whether it's the NCAA or the NFL or you name it, it always comes back to money.
Yeah.
It always comes back to gambling. It always comes back to the betting lines. The referees have so much influence on calls that they're not even checked on. There's no checking on them. And it's like I said it before, you got to have 3 referees in the stadium, in the booth, and then you got to have 3 in the headquarters in New York, or it's just not going to work. You know? And listen, holding happens every play. I understand that, but there's so much more that goes on that the referees are. Because some referees will call holding every play, and some referees will just let it go, because, and we were always taught, if your hands are inside where the numbers are, you can grab them, and they're not going to call holding.
Right.
Well, one referee thinks a different way and says, no, that's holding. Because I've done it all the time. The first thing I used to always get away with was getting their shoulder pads where their tits are, boobs, and holding, and wherever they went, and I never got called for it. But I've seen my buddy Howard House. He might put his hand right here on the shoulder, right here. Throw the flag on them. So it's so subjective.
It's very
There's
subjective.
So much money on the line. Until they become full-time employees, I don't care. Because it's and I hate to be that way because the Bills are playing well, and I've got suckered back into watching them, and I hate it because I hate the NFL. I'm just not a fan. Obviously, I'm more of a college fan, but when the Bills are doing well, I mean,
it's hard not to watch,
sit there and watch.
I mean, that's why we're naming this Mafia Monday. I mean, come on, man, you can't not watch the Bills right here. So again, that's part of it. Jasper,
and if you're not on board with me, then you need to.
Exactly. There's a lot of different Bills bar. The one thing about Atlanta, and really a lot of cities, I think, for that matter, but as we talked about, the melting pot of different fan bases here in Atlanta. I mean, there's hangouts for virtually every, NFL team, every NBA team, NHL, Major League Baseball, you name it. Every bar or pub around the Atlanta area tends to be the hangout for one team or another. There's a lot of Bills bars and Steelers bar, things like that.
Except for the Falcons.
So, except for the Falcons.
Seen a Falcons bar.
Yeah, that's kind of funny. It's not like, I guess because you're in Atlanta, that's kind of the default, I guess. But
exactly.
But I'm not sure anybody out there. I'm sure there's some people that are like, hey, we're an official Atlanta Falcons, bar. But I guess when you're in Atlanta, it doesn't seem to work that way. So
I'm headed to the Standard. It's right down in Roswell.
In Roswell,
and, they're a big Bills bar,
fan,
and I'm going to go
Bills
and
bar,
harass them to get on board with us.
There you go.
I'll even do some autograph signings and stuff like that to get them on the radio with us.
Yeah, the Anchor Bar down in Kennesaw.
Just where I am, there's probably 5 bars within 10 miles, or less, and the Bills faithful are there, and you've been there, the Anchor Bar up in Kennesaw, they have a great following up there. I've been to a couple of games up there with my agent Bill Fincher, and they're packed. I mean, they're all in. So, but it's just I just think getting back to the official situation. I just don't. I don't buy it until they become. And look, Dave, I've said this since I played, and and a lot of the players that I played with feel the same way. I mean, some of these, and look, I'm not knocking them. I'm just saying, half of them are insurance salesmen, or they're salespeople, or
doctors, attorneys, or whatever. Yeah, exactly.
There's too much, especially in the last 20 years. There's too much money on the line.
Yeah,
and for you, because every coach. And I know we got to go. Every coach on Sunday evening after the game watches the film, and they send in anywhere from 5 to 15 plays to the NFL office and say, you know what, you screwed this up.
Yeah.
And you need to get it fixed.
Yeah.
And we don't hear about that. The fans don't hear about that, but I know that.
Yeah.
Every coach sends stuff in. Even in the college level, they send it in.
Right.
And so you've got to hold them accountable and not say, okay, well, we're not going to let you we're not going to let you referee the playoffs. Well, big deal.
Right. Exactly.
That's no punishment. So I off my soapbox. I just think until it becomes full time, they become full-time employees of the NFL. I don't care.
That's why we need 2 hours every day right here on the program, man. I tell you what, we can go on all day, man. I love it right here. Big John once again bringing it on a Monday here on the Morning Rant. Hey, partner, as always, thanks for being with us, and we'll see you back here on Wednesday live in person here inside our Carriage Key studio.
Sounds good. Look forward to it, pal.
All right, man. Again, just a reminder, visit us on our social media, Sports Pig on Facebook, The Morning Rant on Instagram. Again, our show on downloaded as the podcast version on our website, Sports Pig Radio every day. Also daily on YouTube as well. Again, we appreciate you guys being with us right here on a Monday. I'm at Dave Garner 777 on Twitter. He's at John Davis _65. And this is The Morning Rant. Chuck Oliver up next. Thanks for being with us. We'll see you tomorrow morning.
Tired of shouting your business's name into the void and getting nothing but crickets? Your brand deserves more than awkward billboard glances and flyers lining bird cages. Right now, listeners are hearing me ramble on instead of your ad. That's a touchdown for missed opportunities and a fumble for your wallet.
Recovered, Atlanta, game over.
Your ad could be here, making fans laugh, cheer, and most importantly, call you. Go to sportspigradio.com or call 678-454-9552 and get your business off the bench and into the game.